Here we go. OVE podcast. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. I'm the Torque from QFM 96. He's Sam Grooms on this Thursday. Ohio versus everyone is the podcast. Buckeyes, Browns, Bengals news today. Blue Jackets in I'll call it a must-win situation. Talk to Steve Mears about the Blue Jackets today. Good conversation. Want you to subscribe, like, follow, share, and if you're hurt at work or in an accident, let attorney Robert Schuerger go to war for you at warforyou.com. Today's Thursday. That means wrestling day. I'm actually watching wrestling right now while I'm in my custom air studio in my ductless HVAC, little heat on this cold day. It's a cold one. What's up, Sam?
It's funny how different we are. I've got a fan blowing behind me.
Oh, dude, it's freezing outside.
Oh, it's not that bad.
I'm a wuss baby, dude, a cold baby.
Are there still, so obviously WWE is very much alive and well. Are there any other promotions?
No, just AEW, WWE, and then I think there's like a bunch of independent ones. You know, like there's an MLW one, you know, where they kind of generate stars for people to take. You know, that's where Jacob Fatu, who's a big star in WWE, was at. So they're kind of like a breeding ground. When anyone gets big, they'll just jump over. It's kind of a big advantage that WWE has. I'll let some independent wrestling company develop my next star, and then I'll just pay more for him, and I'll take him to the next level.
Well, isn't how that basically how the WWF kind of became the king? There was kind of a gentleman's agreement, and it was very, very regional promotions back in the day, and Vince McMahon said, screw this, and just started moving in on territories?
Yeah, pretty much. By the way, can I get started? Today's poll question, by the way, thoughts on Brian Hartline being named the new OC. Can I give you an unpopular opinion on something, Sam? As we start the show, and I just put this on Facebook.
Dude, we're full of them here.
I am so damn sick of Jelly Roll. Honest to God, that fat SOB, and I could say that as a fat person. Did you see him today at the Waste Management Open? That dude can't take a dump without crying. My God, I'm supposed to believe you did jail time. They introduced him at the Waste Management Open, right? And he's like, I'm so mad. And he's crying. Dude, every place you go, you don't have to cry. Listen, I get it's a good story. Good for him. He's nailing a porn star. He's married to Bunny. He did time. He's a big, huge star. He's appearing everywhere. Some songs he can't sing worth the crap, but whatever. I'm not hating. I'm just saying, every time there's a camera on you or you're introduced, dude, keep your shit inside. Like, do you have to cry? And I'm not kidding. Look at the cuts today. Waste Management Open, the slobbering idiot starts crying. You're at a golf tournament teeing up. You don't have to cry. Not every moment in your life is a crying moment, dude. You got a teardrop tattoo. That means you killed somebody. Quit crying.
It's probably the chemical imbalance in his head from the years of drug use.
I've never met anyone in my life, a male or female, that cries that much. Dude was crying at the Waste Management Open. Dude cries everywhere he's at. I'm just so happy. All right, we get it. You're happy to be places. It's great, dude. You don't have to cry. God, it's annoying, dude. I will take the Kelsey brothers over this dude any day of the week. Could you imagine just, like, being around that dude? Like, I'm just so happy to be in a Starbucks. Every damn second, bro. Shit, dude. My God.
He is everywhere.
He's everywhere, but he's crying everywhere. I don't care if he's ever good. Make all the money you want. I hope he is wiping his fat ass with hundreds. I hope to God. I am not hating on his success. I am not jealous of. Good for you, dude. It's just you don't have to cry. Everything doesn't have to be an emotional moment, is what I'm saying. That's all. It's just, dude, come on, buddy. You know, You're eating a Rice Krispie treat and you're crying.
Plus, isn't it a little bit redundant when you're crying and you have a teardrop tattoo?
Yeah.
It's a little much, right?
Yeah, I just saw the clip at the Waste Management Open, and God, dude, you don't got to cry. And why are you giving him a mic? Because then you know he's going to cry.
Have you ever been out to that, by the way?
Yeah, a million times.
Phoenix?
Oh, a million times.
Probably wasn't what it is today back when you were covering it, were you? Or was it?
No, because it got so crazy, they had to move the party off the golf course. So now everything there is when it comes to the party time is you have to take buses and go down the block because it got too crazy.
Well, from
Remember,
what
like
I
someone had
understand,
a gun in. Like Tiger doesn't play it very often.
from what I understand too, this year they're kind of having a zero tolerance policy because they're trying to rein it back in a little bit. I'm sure there's still going to be drunk idiots, but I would go out on a limb and say you're not going to see near the debauchery this year that you've seen in years past. And it seems like each year it was building up to the point where something bad is going to happen if you let it keep going that direction.
Now they're going to scale back, dude. It's been going like 25 years. It's been crazy.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a focus on it this year, where they're not going to put up with all the shit.
Yeah,
at least at the golf course.
Oh, it's like, honest to God, it's been going crazy for 25 years, and now they're just doing. Tiger stopped playing there because it was a Phil Mickelson. If you don't know his background, Phil went to Arizona State. His wife was like a son's dancer there. He lived in Phoenix for a long time. In the height of the Tiger-Phil rivalry, people were giving Tiger a lot of shit there.
He still owns golf courses. Phil does out there. I've actually played it 1 year ago, McDowell Mountain.
Okay. But it would get out of hand where the Phoenix people, like, Phil's our boy, Tiger, you're the rival, you're the enemy, and people nonstop just harass Tiger.
They did that too up in like New England, New York. They would always seem to be on Phil's side and give Tiger 8 kinds of hell. I mean, and let's be real. Tiger, not the best dude. Phil, worse.
Yes, agreed.
And anybody that thinks otherwise, I have some stories for you.
I could probably help you along there.
Yo, I'm sure.
Tend to agree.
That guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah. You were mentioned today on the morning show.
Oh, God. What'd I do?
We were talking about Ryan Day's new deal that we can get into. He's the second highest paid coach, and I was pretty spot on what he's going to make per year when we were talking about it earlier this week. I was just talking about how Ryan Day signed a new deal, and everybody's happy except for my partner, Sam. And then Jerry said, Sam would hate on Mother Teresa if she was still alive. And I said, well, if she deserved it, probably.
I'm trying to think of something smart ass to say about Mother Teresa, but I probably should. Again, if you're gonna frame it, should Ryan Day be making, the second most money of all the coaches in college football, just behind Kirby Smart? Yeah, probably. But I also think the guy was being overpaid for amount of years for what he was producing, and he finally produced it. So why are we in a rush to give the guy a raise? But you know what? It ain't my money, so it doesn't matter.
I would say don't give anyone an excuse to leave this sport, because it's very easy to leave right now. If you're top of the mountain right now in your sport, do you really need this? I mean, gone are the days of the Steve Spurriers going to college and failing, the Nick Sabans going in college and failing. It's almost worth it to leave just to leave the BS aside. It really is a wild, wild west sport, a lawless sport. I just watched this thing on Netflix, or I'm watching it now, on Wyatt Earp, and I didn't realize, like, dude.
So by the way, that's a phenomenal miniseries.
It is.
So the Tombstone, the movie, had some of it right, but I didn't realize that essentially the sheriff, and a lot of these people were they were going against Wyatt Earp and trying to get him thrown out and thrown in jail and basically frame him for these like robberies and such that he didn't even commit.
But while Wyatt Earp, though, at the end started killing people too.
Yeah.
Like that's what college football is right now. A wild, wild west with no law and, mass crimes everywhere. That's what college football is right now. So if you want to keep the top coach, obviously there's certain guys who the NFL's not going to look at Lincoln Riley and go, oh, I need to hire him. And I don't think anyone's going to look at Sark and go, oh, I want to hire that guy. He's got a signature win. But if Kirby Smart, Sam, started putting feelers out there, an NFL coach would give Kirby Smart $15 million a year. You can't tell me they wouldn't. If Ryan Day put out feelers out there, are you telling me Ryan Day wouldn't get bites? I think he's more of a pro coach than college. Mm-hmm. So if you want to keep your guys, you have to support them with a great NIL, which we have at Ohio State. Then Learfield Communications is taken over. You have to have a strong athletic department, which they do. And you have to pay the guy the going rate of what everybody's getting paid. And if you're considered the second best coach, you get paid. And I tell you what, Sam, if he wins another natty, what does Kirby Smart have? 3 or just 2?
2.
2. If he wins another natty, guess what? He's going to get paid again.
Yeah,
because
probably
it's
right.
the going rate of what's going on. And I have no problem with it. Is it a lot of money for a guy who just won? Yes. But in this sport, you cannot let the great ones walk through the door because they have every excuse to leave. Who would want to put up with this stuff? Who would want to put up with other teams contacting a player's cousin and then that's his representation, where you've got to worry twice a year about your players transferring and there's nothing you could do about what's going on? It's fun for us fans because the cycle never turns off, Sam. It's always a 24/7. We could talk college football, but it's just in the long run of this sport, it's unhealthy.
Yeah, and I completely agree with all of those reasons. But I just can't look past the fact that you were paying this guy as if he had won one already for several years, and he never did. Never won a Big Ten except for 19. Hasn't beaten Michigan in half a decade, and now he finally wins the Natty. And then we're in a rush to extend the guy 3 more years into 2031 and pay him an additional $2.5 million. Or I'm sorry, $2 million a year. Like, just doesn't. Again, not my money. Doesn't matter. But
no, but
hey, good for him.
When you look at it, to kind of combat your point, though, look at the guys who are making money that were making more money than him before this deal, right? The Lincoln Rileys of the world, the Brian Kellys making similar money, the Sarks, right? The guy, Lane Kiffin, who's right below him. Guys who haven't done the same thing and they were getting paid more or the same, right? So it's kind of like the market sets itself, right? And the market was setting themselves where guys were getting paid more right behind them. So it just kind of look at Dak Prescott with the Cowboys. You would say, how the hell is he getting $60 million? Well, it's the going rate and his time was up, right? Because you could look at him and go, has the dude won a playoff game? Has he accomplished anything? Like, why the hell is that dude getting $60 million? And it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it guaranteed?
Lincoln Riley?
No. Prescott.
The
Cowboys.
That I don't think so.
I think it is.
Fully guaranteed.
I think it's like not Kirk Cousins guaranteed, but pretty damn close. And you look at it and go, well, what the hell did he do to accomplish it? Right? But it's kind of what the market dictates in the going rate. And when your time's up, you capitalize on it. Listen.
All but $9 million of Dak Prescott. And he got an $80 million signing bonus.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And you look at it and go, what has he accomplished? He's not even, I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. So, I mean, I bet you the Cowboys, Sam, the Cowboys, when Micah Parsons up, they're going to probably have the 3 highest paid players. One of the highest paid receivers, highest paid quarterback, highest paid defensive player. It's going to be hard to compete when you pay that type of money. But you either have to make a decision, like Ohio State has to make a decision. Do we pay Ryan Day market value of what everybody else pays? But we know if we stay a hard line and only keep, like, I know only $10 million a year, but we also got to realize that we're giving him an excuse to leave at the end of the season. That maybe he fulfills his commitment for 1 more year, but he's going to start putting feelers out there.
Wasn't he signed? But he was already signed up for 2 more years, right?
No, he was. I'm just saying, though, he could leave. He could go to the NFL.
Could. You don't think that Ohio State could go out and get the best possible replacement that they could find? I mean, and this dovetails kind of into
paying a buyout, because then you're paying Marcus Freeman's buyout or Matt Campbell's buyout.
I want to see.
You're hiring a new staff, and then players could leave. Holy,
I want to see. Oh, that's the biggest issue right there. Like JJ Smith has essentially said he is staying at Ohio State because Ryan Day and Brian Hartline. If either of those guys leave, he's gone. That would be the bigger issue to me than finding a suitable replacement to be the head coach of this football program.
Well, I give Ryan Day credit because Urban Meyer came in and he put Ohio State and made it a national brand, kind of like Coop did. There's nothing wrong with what Jim Tressel did. The homegrown, best in Ohio. We're going to recruit our state better than anyone else. I'm going to go to Florida and grab a guy, Pennsylvania and grab a guy, Texas and grab a guy. But for the most part, I am going to recruit Ohio, and that's the way Woody Hayes did it. And we can win with Ohio guys. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it because I do think you can win with Ohio guys. But Urban Meyer came in from a different perspective and said, you know what? I have won 2 national championships. I get it. I've coached at Ohio State. I know what Ohio State football is all about, but I got to make it more of a brand now. We got to get athletes. What Urban looked at it, Sam, where I'm not competing with the Big Ten. I'm competing with the Alabama, the Georgias of the world, because I have been in the SEC. I know how to build a team to take Nick Saban. Florida came in, Sam, when Urban Meyer took over and said, guess what, Nick Saban? There's a new badass motherfucking sheriff in town, and I'm going to take you down. And for the most part, Urban and him had a great back and forth, where Urban was the only one who could come in and slay Alabama. Alabama dominated, and then they dominated until Kirby Smart came along, and he got hired away from the Alabama staff in Georgia. But Urban made this school a global brand, and then Ryan Day picked up, and you could say born on third base, but it's a new world in college football, and Ryan Day is maintained in probably a tougher environment to maintain than when Urban Meyer took over.
Yeah, and I think that you make a good point there. I don't think Urban Meyer gets near enough credit for taking what was maybe a regional vision of Ohio State football and making it that national or that global vision. I mean, think about this too. Urban Meyer was pivotal in getting his assistant coaches paid.
Yeah.
Before Urban Meyer, part of the reason the Big Ten could not hang with the SEC, aside from the under the table payments and those types of things, it was because they could not pay the best coaches, or they did not pay the best coaches. Urban Meyer came in and said, if you want to compete, not just in the Big Ten, but if you want to compete nationally with some of these big teams, you have to go out and get the best coaches, or allow me to get the best coaches. And for me to do that, I have to be able to pay them. And luckily, the administration and the AD at Ohio State allowed Urban to do so. And look at where the Ohio State football program is now compared to then, in addition to how he really upped and changed the mindset of recruiting and the types of players that they wanted to get for this program.
Yeah. I mean, he changed the way it's done, man. I mean, he really put it on a different level. Kudos to him. But and Jim Harbaugh could say what he wants, born on third base. I would say Harbaugh, Urban's your Urban's bitch, and your ass hurts from Urban, right? So you could say born on third base, whatever. But it is really damn hard to maintain the level of excellence and the win percentage that Ryan Day did at Ohio State. So $12.5 million, a lot of money. Not my money, but if that's the going rate to keep Ryan Day, you pay your coach because he won a natty, baby. Now, if he didn't win a natty, Sam, let's say hypothetically they lost out to Tennessee or Oregon or Texas at any point, I would be the first guy to come out and go, well, you're paying him $12.5 million, and this was a ready-made championship roster, and he failed yet again. Why are you paying this guy? I wouldn't say fire this guy, but I would say, why are you paying him? But he earned it. He won a natty, and look how many guys in college football currently have won a natty. Not a lot. The list is small.
Yeah, like I said, I don't fault Ryan Day for signing the contract. That's not his fault. I just don't understand why we're always in a rush, especially when we compare what Ryan has done the last 5 years with this program versus what he was being paid to do. So, again, celebrate it. Good for him for getting the money. Here's a question for you for the chat. Do you think he plays out the rest of the term of this contract? So I believe he signed through 2031 at this point.
No. I hope he does. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think he finishes it. Do you think he unless the problem with that question though, Sam, is if things don't change in college football, Ryan's already expressed his frustration. He's said it multiple times in the offseason about enforcing the rules, right? You could tell, obviously, when a guy is leading with that answer in multiple interviews on a national scale, it's something that really, he's got a voice, it's pissing him off, and he could do something about it. So, yeah, I think if college football doesn't improve, do something to have some type of commissioner, some type of committee, some type of enforcer of the rules, then I think Ryan Day's 2 years and he's gone. And it's not because he wants to leave, and it's not because he doesn't love Columbus. Forget about he had to hire security, Ryan Day. He knows that comes with the territory. He doesn't like it, but it comes with the territory. Everybody knows that when you play. Everybody knows that when you coach. Everybody knows that when you're in media in this city. But I think there's a line, Sam, when you're a coach where it's just not $12.5 million is a lot of money, but it's not worth the frustration. I can make 14 in the NFL. And that's what, and sooner or later, Ryan Day is going to look at this in a couple of years and say, all right, college football's done nothing. They can't enforce the rules. We have blatant rule breakers everywhere you go, and no one wants to do anything about it. Why the F? I'm a young man. Why am I doing this? Because now I'm doing just for men like every day now because I'm going gray. It's just not, it wouldn't be worth it for anyone to do it, correct?
Yeah, I don't care how much money.
If you had an option to leave, why would you stay in college football?
I don't care how much money you're making. Stress will kill you and take years off your life eventually. And to be realistic, even though they won the Natty this year, it wasn't without tons of stress to go along with it.
Absolutely. A lot of BS. And you don't have that in the NFL. Now, do you have a different relationship with players? You're coaching young men. You're not molding young people. There's a reward. I believe Ryan Day when he says, you know what, I can mold young men. There's a reward to that that's almost better than winning an NFL championship from the standpoint of, you know, Jim Tressel used to say this, Sam. Jim Tressel would go into a family's home and say, I promise you, if your son comes to Ohio State, I will make him a better man. And guess what? Jim Tressel lived up to that. Guaranteed. You can think whatever you want about Jim Tressel. I know enough of his former players where when Tress walked into that, and it didn't end when you left at Ohio State, by the way. You will still, when you're a former player of Tress, you are still getting a text on your birthday. Jim Tressel still cares about his players. But Jim Tressel went in and said, I promise you, I will make your son, whether it was Roy Small making sure he went to school, whether it was TP, and I know it pissed a lot of players off because I'm friends with those guys, the treatment that TP got because Tress knew I had to treat him differently. When TP left practice, it's a true story, TP would get home and Tress would be sitting on his couch because Tress knew I got a guy here. I gotta take care of this guy, right? So Tress took it. It made Tress happy knowing that he did this for young men. Maybe he didn't get the thanks now looking back, but that didn't matter for Jim Tressel. For Ryan Day, I think there's a similar thing there, Sam, that's different than Urban, where Urban's like, come to Ohio State, here's the rings, go to the NFL, you want to win, you come here, we'll get a lot of jewelry. Where I think Ryan Day is more of the mold of come here, we'll win, but also it's about kind of helping these young men become better men.
Well, I mean, so Mo Clarett was around the program this year, right? Yep. Ryan Day even citing that he was instrumental in the team being able to overcome adversity. You don't think Jim Tressel was involved in getting and helping Mo Clarett through probably the darkest point in anybody's life that you're aware of?
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you they still talk all the time.
Yeah.
You know, Tress talks to Ryan Day at least once a week. You're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know. It's just.
But at what point, though, Sam, is as much as reward, is it personally to do this? You know, right? It's almost like a different level of, it almost goes beyond winning, right? When you influences someone's life. My wife tells me all the time, because I do mornings, we do really well. A lot of people listen to us. And my wife tells me all the time, like when I don't want to do it or like, how long am I going to do this? Oh, I don't want to get up, whatever. She says this about the podcast. You bring joy to people. So do your job. You don't realize it. People wake up and they want to laugh and they want to escape. And you better get your ass and do the podcast or do the morning show, whatever it is. And you know what? She's probably right.
You know what's funny? I could absolutely see Lauren cracking the whip on you like that.
Oh, 100%. But it's something that you just don't think about when you do like your Ryan Day. Ryan Day's think about it like, all right, it's not about me. It's about winning games, obviously, but it's also about making these young men better people. You don't see. I was talking to someone with the program about this midseason. We were just having a texting conversation, and they made a great point. You don't see guys getting arrested like in Georgia. You don't see that crap going on with Ryan Day, folks. There's no criminals, Ryan Day. You don't have rogue coaches stealing signs here. There's integrity with this program. They won with integrity. It's not with a bunch of players who are committing crimes or not going to school or like Georgia and what's going down in the SEC or scumbag coaches up in Michigan. There's something to winning with integrity. Ryan Day brings that.
We've talked about too in the past, and I think we did in the offseason, the graduation rate for this program right now. Not just the football team, but the entire athletic department at Ohio State. The clip at which Ohio State is graduating players is like 97%. And I think I remember seeing the number, it was sub 50 at Georgia, it was like 47%. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm understanding there are certain situations that can maybe skew that, but you're absolutely right. These guys come to school. DUIs. They come to school, they largely stay out of trouble. And we talk about, Trust being mentor for these, young men or young boys that come to the program and leave men. I would go out on a limb and say Ryan Day is doing exactly the same thing. He's laying the groundwork so where he could have that mentor-mentee relationship with the guys he coaches. He seems to care about these guys enough, and they seem to care about their coach enough to where that they're creating a long-lasting relationship that I feel like is going to go way beyond football. It's going to help them both probably through life.
What's funny is successful as Urban and Ryan Day, they're so that the approach is so different, yet the results are unbelievable.
Yeah, you want to talk about a dichotomy or a polar opposite comparison of approaches to the game and coaching and life. I don't think you have to look much further than Ryan Day and Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
But each of them going about it differently, they essentially get the same result.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
And then you have a guy who's a friend of mine. I'll use him, for example, Zach Bourne, who loves Urban. Urban loves Zach. And Zach loves Ryan Day. He's close with Ryan Day. Yep, there's players that love Urban. Trust me. Urban wasn't give me a hug type of guy, but there's players who like that style, that get off on that style.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you said, I'm happy for Ryan in the fact that he got the monkey off his back. Happy for his family that he just got a $2 million raise. Think about how much money you would make in a working career. That guy just got that in a raise per year. Like that's, we talk about Jim Knowles leaving for Penn State, but over about a $500,000 pay difference based upon whichever newspaper or feed that you want to read. $500,000 a year and just a raise. Like people would kill for a job that pays that raise enough, that $500,000 a year. So,
you know what I said to my CEO? My CEO came to town and I signed my deal in July, right? And he says to me, he makes a joke. He goes, "Hey, you got the big deal." And then obviously I see the ratings and they're, like I said, really good, like really, really good. If you think there's someone better or have better ratings, you'd be wrong. And I looked at him and said, "Dude, you got the biggest bargain of the year."
It's fair.
And I think really with Ryan Day, $12.5 million, I think it's a bargain. Honest to God, I think
graduating guys, keeping them out of trouble, getting wins, over everybody but Michigan. It seems like, and you finally got the national championship, which is the crown jewel in anybody's career. So, yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. It just seemed like a rush to me, but it's not my money. I'm not the one signing the paychecks.
No, but it's a valid point to say, like, hey, are we rewarding someone when the kid, if you have a kid, and I'm just saying, you want to reward oh boy, you got an A, let's give you a reward. You know what I mean? Like instant gratification. I get what you're saying. You're just like, hey, do we have to instant gratification? You did this, you get this. You did this, you did this. I get it. If you have that opinion, you're not wrong. It's just that's the going rate of college football right now is you win, you get a new deal. Look at Sark, Sam. He didn't win and he got a new deal. It's just kind of how it is in college football. If you want to keep your guys, got to keep mama happy. It's a Bruce Springsteen phrase. Got to keep mama happy. Can we
talk about Bruce Springsteen and my hatred for him?
Do you?
Oh, I can't stand him.
I got a good spring. All right, we'll come back for break. I got a Springsteen story. Today's poll question, thoughts on Brian Hartline? Because Ryan Day said something interesting earlier this week about Chip Kelly calling plays. And kudos to Buckeye Scoop. They nailed the Brian Hartline thing. They had it before anyone. I was talking to Barton last night. We were texting back and forth. He goes, "I'm about to be the most annoying person in the world now." All right.
Hey, take your victory lap, man.
That's what I said.
He not only did they get it 5 days ahead of time, when there was an opportunity for them to say, yeah, maybe we got it wrong or to shift gears, they doubled down and, hey, take your lap.
Absolutely. And that's what I told him. I go, you deserve it. Be annoying as you want. So we'll talk about Brian Hartline being named the new offensive coordinator, Springsteen's story, and we'll try to squeeze in, because it's Wrestling Thursday, LeBron James giving the city of Cleveland the middle finger. And we want to try to get to this Mike DeWine stuff too, because talk about a crooked politician who's now entered sports, and it'll affect, if you're a Bengals fan, Blue Jacket fan, Browns fan, this dirty little pipsqueak wants his palms greased. We're back in 60 seconds on the OVE podcast.
We go to war for you.
At Schuerger Shunnarah Trial Attorneys, we don't back down. Accident? Call us today at 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com for a free consultation. Know your rights, because results matter.
That's 877-WAR-FOR-YOU. 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com.
War for you. Warforyou.com.
Denrob Management has over 40 years experience in all aspects of payroll, processing checks, tax filing, W-2 and 1099 preparation. First-time customers get 50% off their first 3 months processing fees. Give them a call now, 614-297-1158 or denrobmanagement.com. Thursday, OVE podcast. Tell your friends, subscribe, like, follow, share. Super chat is on. Let's get going, cheap asses. Ryan J. just signed a deal. Your hatred for Bruce Springsteen, why? You don't like horns and rock?
We talk about how we hate frauds and phonies, and that's what Bruce Springsteen is. The whole boss mantra, or not mantra, the whole boss personality is a fake. It's a fraud. The whole hard ass thing, I'm not buying it. And there are clips of him early in his career trying some other shtick and it didn't work. And then he found the cool man, I'm kind of Billy Badass from the New England state. He's a freaking phony.
Okay.
We always ask the question, if you could fight anybody in their prime, put me in a room, fight that. Bruce Springsteen's my answer.
All right. I will tell you a Bruce Springsteen story. And this is not bad or good, but Little Steven Van Zandt has a syndicated show, Little Steven's Garage and Radio. And so Bruce Springsteen was in town for the Rising Tour. And Little Steven came in. I was doing the morning show, spent the entire morning with us. It was awesome. So he said to me, he goes, hey, you going to the show? I said, yeah, I got tickets. First time I'm seeing. And he tells me straight up, he goes, you're going to hate the concert. And I go, why? And he goes, because we play 16 songs before the encore, and all 16 songs are on the new album. And I go, yeah. And he goes, that's the way the boss wants it, right? And he goes, we might play some old stuff in the encore, but he goes, it's all new stuff. He goes, but I tell you what, I'm going to hook you up. Come backstage and we'll hang out, man. Right? So he left me backstage passes. And so we go backstage and they were set up in the Suns media room. And when I walk into that room, the spread of food, you would think that the Saudi Arabian prince was coming. Lobster, crab legs. I mean, the best of the best. This whole huge spread. And there's probably like the E Street Band was there and maybe like 15 people. And the spread was just immaculate though, folks. When I tell you, man, as a fat guy, that this was just heaven. Like if I go to heaven, that will be heaven. It was. And so I'm talking to little Stevie and I go, so we're doing pictures and stuff. And I said, so what's the deal? Is Bruce ever coming? He goes, dude, I've been with this guy, and he threw out, since 19, whatever. Right. And he goes, you don't see the boss till you're on stage. He goes, you don't see him or the wife, cause she's in the band too. He goes, that's when I see Bruce. He goes, when you see
Bruce's wife is in the band?
Yeah. Patty Schuerger or whatever her name is, the redheaded gal.
Okay.
She was. He said, he goes, when you see the boss, I see the boss. But I guess you're on a different level when you're Springsteen. You go in your locker room or your dressing room and they knock on the door and then, right?
By the way, Blue Wolverine said to take the cheap asses comment back that there is no membership or super chat button available, so we need to fix
there
that.
isn't?
Yeah.
Sorry, Blue Wolverine. Will you text Zach that real quick?
Yeah. So the other thing, and obviously,
Sorry,
even Van Zandt, they're all commies too, which I'm not a big fan of that either. So
Steve,
they're true commies where they go out and love capitalism when they're making money, but then they love to take everybody else's for other nefarious reasons. So screw that guy.
have you seen Lilyhammer?
The movie or a TV show?
The TV show, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's like a Sopranos type show that he did after Sopranos.
He was great in Sopranos. Still?
Yeah, it's like his character in Sopranos, but he's in the witness protection program, obviously, in Lilyhammer, and he starts a mob there.
Okay.
Like in the city of like 400 people. He becomes like a mob boss. Pretty decent. If you like the Sopranos, it's Sopranos light.
Where's Lilyhammer?
I don't know. Sweden.
Isn't that in like Sweden or something?
Finland, Sweden? One of the two.
Yeah.
Scandinavia land.
I know they had an Olympics, didn't they?
Yeah, sure. Let it live. Here's interesting. So Brian Hartline is named offensive coordinator. It's official. And we take Tyler Bowen, who was
Norway, by the way.
Coordinator. What's that?
Norway.
Thank you. Well, we are close. We said Scandinavia. Yeah. Tyler Bowen, who is the offensive coordinator of Virginia Tech, takes a lesser role to be our offensive line coach. So that's a big hookup. And Ryan Day said in an interview with Joe Klatt this week. Joe Klatt asked him and said, if you didn't step away, would you still win the national title? And he said, no, I don't think I would have. So we know that Brian Hartline tried to call plays and something didn't work out. And, from what Zach was mentioning about like getting the run scheme, he didn't kind of pick up the run scheme very well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now Ryan Day's handing the keys over to Brian Hartline because he is calling the plays. And I just wonder, Ryan Day said there's no way we wouldn't have won a national title if I was calling plays just because I needed to detach myself. Does that worry you at all that year 2 now we're trying to go back to back, that he's handing the keys to Brian Hartline? And when Ryan Day admitted, well, if I was calling the plays, we wouldn't have been here. That worries me a little bit when you hand the keys to the first timer with a first time quarterback, new offensive tackles, same receivers. I hope Brian Hartline has the plan for Jeremiah Smith, but new running backs as well. That's a whole new offense and a hell of a lot of pressure to put on a first year.
Well, he's going to get the ball to the wide receivers. That's his dudes.
Yeah.
Those are his guys. Why wouldn't he throw it to him? I mean, I guess my trepidation with Hartline is Ohio State is where you go to get the best coaches, the best OC, the best head coach, the best running back, whatever it is. Do we genuinely believe, and I understand the whole idea of keeping everything in-house so there's some continuity, but do we really think that Brian Hartline is the best possible available offensive coordinator for this football program going forward?
Probably not, but I think it's probably the right call to keep
and let me also say this. I want to reserve the right to see a couple of games before I really pass judgment. It's one of those scenarios kind of where Diebler, perfect example. He was maybe the right coach at the time, or he was the easy coach, the easy hire at the time. I was still nervous about them hiring from within when you had culture issues and all that stuff. But I kind of wanted to reserve the right just to see if the results actually change with the offseason going into this year. And largely, I don't think it has. Yeah. I want to see if he has grown and he has learned and matured into this position. I want to see if, and probably most importantly, he has the balls to tell Ryan Day to sit down and let him do his job. That's the big thing. I mean, I guess the word was out on Brian is that he knows the pass game and schemes. He wasn't too sure about offensive line play in the running game, but I would imagine a year under Chip Kelly would probably speed that along quite a bit. So I think you could have done better, but I also want to reserve the right, since we really haven't seen it. I want to reserve the right before I, really pass any judgment on, because it may be a damn home run. I don't know, because we haven't seen it yet.
Do you think that OSU was close to hiring Jeff Nixon from Syracuse. Jeff Nixon announced they re-signed. He re-signed with Syracuse today, making him the highest paid coordinator in the ACC. Do you think it was something where Ohio State came calling and he used it to leverage a deal, or there's nothing to it? It's just like, hey, Ohio State named their offensive coordinator. This guy was mentioned. Let's give him a raise.
I mean, do you really think a guy like that, with the offense we saw out of Syracuse this past year, really complements the pieces you already have as far as coaching staff?
No, I told you that I didn't want a guy, when he was mentioned, I didn't want a guy who throws the ball 60 times.
To me, who was the guy we were talking about yesterday that was –
He does have ties here, doesn't he?
The Miami OC, right?
Yeah.
His real expertise was that downhill, aggressive, physical running game. I wanted a guy that could bring that expertise, that wrinkle to this offense, and pair that up with the passing routes and schemes that Ryan Day wants to run. That would be my home run. But
the Syracuse head coach has ties here, not the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking Jeff Nixon had ties here, but maybe it was just I confused my brain. It was the head coach.
Fran Brown, is that the name of the coach there?
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't want a guy who can't establish the run, where Kyle McCord, I think to win games, I got to throw the ball 60 times. No bueno for me, dude.
I will say, and Charles called me out on being Mr. Negative. I do, based upon everything I've read and seen, I do like this O-line coach that's coming in.
I think it's a big get.
I think it's huge. There's been multiple guys. So he's coached in the league. He's been in the Big Ten at Penn State. He has the ability to recruit, and he's getting a better job at a better university. He's going from offensive coordinator to offensive line coach. So I like it. I do like that hire. So there's Mr. Positivity for this week.
Maybe I loved it too, because we talked about how Power 5 coaches wanted to, like Chip Kelly left UCLA to come here. Ohio State offensive coordinator is a better job than being head coach at UCLA. Being offensive line coach at Ohio State, better job than being offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech now that Beamer's gone, right? There are certain jobs now. We've reached the level with this program where this guy knows, all right, I'm leaving offensive coordinator, but for the long run, for my career, it's better to be at Ohio State, whether it's offensive coordinator, offensive line, whatever it is. That's a better gig than being OC at an ACC school, being at the power of college football. Because it is. Ohio State's the biggest brand. They're the biggest power. You might not like it, but it's the truth. And being associated with this program gets you places. Got Chip Kelly $6 million.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Sam, good stuff. We still have
two and a half topics maybe?
We do. But we got wrestling. Royal Rumble was this. Did you watch the Royal Rumble?
So I saw bits and pieces. I didn't realize there's only technically 4 matches at that event. And honestly, here's the thing too. I thought it was on Saturday, like every other pay-per-view, and then I started seeing stuff on my phone that it was Saturday night.
It's Saturday at 6.
Well, I screwed that up. I thought it was Sunday anyway.
Yeah, sometimes they do Sunday.
Well, don't they usually? When they're
they mix it up. It just depends on what it is.
What is the next pay-per-view, or is WrestleMania the next big one?
No, it's Elimination Chamber.
Okay. And are they still doing one every month?
Sometimes they do 2 a month. Sometimes they'll skip a month. Or whatever makes money for WWE. Because now they're doing Saturday night main events on NBC.
What is that?
That's whenever they want, 4 times a year.
And do you have both Raw and SmackDown?
Yep.
On
Saudi Arabia, I mean, they're just doing tons. They're making money, man, like never before.
Good for them.
We're back tomorrow. Or no, Sam's back tomorrow. I'm staying here. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Wrestling's next. OVE podcast. See you, Sam.
Later.
Hey, it's Torque for Custom Air. You know, when it comes to my HVAC system, I don't trust just anyone. I trust Custom Air. These guys are fast, reliable, and they know their stuff. Fall's just around the corner, and now's the perfect time to make sure your HVAC equipment is running at its best. Don't wait until it's too late. Get ahead of the game. I wouldn't trust anyone else with my home, and neither should you. Visit them on the web at customairco.com and keep your home comfortable all season long. Custom solutions, custom comfort, Custom Air. Thinking of buying or selling a home? Give Lauren Torgerson a call with Next Home Experience. Lauren has been servicing the Columbus metropolitan area for 10 years. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, considering building, want to upsize or downsize, Lauren can help you with all your real estate needs. Get a free market analysis for your area and get started working on making tomorrow's dreams happen today. Call or text Lauren at 614-296-3952, 614-296-3952, or email at torgersonlauren@gmail.com. All right, we're back. OVE podcast, warforyou.com. Heard at work or in an accident. Let this guy, attorney Robert Schuerger, go to warforyou, warforyou.com. BJ, what's up, my man?
Torg, how are you, man? Got to was up at the Granville Inn last night. Had some meetings up there, and got to go to Taco Dan's. So had a good night last night.
Taco Dan's. I've never heard of Taco Dan's.
Yeah. It's a local place up there in Granville downtown. Unfortunately, the woman who ran it for many, many years passed away earlier last year, but she was a staple making tacos in the back, and all the students at Denison, it's their place to go. You got pool tables, draft beer, and Mexican food in the back. It's great.
Taco Dan's. All right. I got you, bro. Taco Dan's. All right. I'm going to go. I listen, when I'm in town, I'll go, hey, are you?
Yeah, no, exactly. Might as well go local.
Are you as shocked as me about the Royal Rumble winner that Jey Uso won?
Am I surprised?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And, I am surprised, but I guess I can understand from the sense of one thing we know is that Yeet is somebody who has been over. He's somebody who I think probably their indicators are showing has the opportunity, the ability to become a superstar, not just a star. And I think that this is where they're going to take their shot. CM Punk, whom I thought was going to win the Royal Rumble because it was going to be his opportunity to win the Rumble for the first time and also be at the main event in WrestleMania. But clearly they have other plans for that, maybe a triple threat match with him and with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. But no, I was very surprised. The only thing I can think of is that they are, basically cultivating, Yeet for a bigger role, bigger individual role within WWE.
What I think Triple H, how he's booking this stuff, BJ, is Triple H is booking whoever's the hot hand. I'm giving him the belt. I'm going with the hot baby face, If you look at the pay-per-views and you look at the premium live events, take a look since Triple H has taken over. Almost across the board, if there's 10 matches, 9 of them, the good guy's winning. The over person's winning. It's very kind of predictable. Now, this wasn't predictable, but it's really who's the top face, who's getting the crowd reaction. Let's give the crowd a payoff and a pop. And every premium live event, the good guys win. And we've talked about how they have a heel problem at WWE. They can't develop every good guy. It's the formula Vince McMahon used for Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Punk Bundy. John Studd. All right, we need bad guys. Andre the Giant, we're going to turn him. Ultra Villain, right? We need another bad guy. Macho Man, we're going to take your best friend and turn him. You always need a bad guy to push the good guy. Triple H is doing a horrible job of good guy, need the bad guy. He's doing a bad job. Jey Uso is the biggest thing going. The Yeet thing, it's over. Can he talk on the mic? Not really. Can he wrestle? Absolutely can. Can he get that crowd over? Absolutely can. So I think maybe it's one of those things where he's the hot thing going. How many people can get an entire crowd at a WWE event in it, right?
Yeah.
So biggest name. So it's WrestleMania period time. Let's just make sure that when we're in Las Vegas and there's 75, 80,000 people, they're all buying the sunglasses and all doing let's sell some merch. Let's get the crowd going. Let's put the top guy in. He's even bigger than CM Punk. CM Punk, guess what? You're back. You're going to be in with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns now. We got to ride the hot hand. So it's not necessary. It really is what's best for business. Maybe not what the fans like, but when he goes out in Vegas in WrestleMania and it's going to be against Gunther, you're going to have 80,000 people doing the Yeet crap.
Well, and you're right. And I think they probably also want an opponent for Gunther that's going to draw some, that kind of attention. Somebody like Jey Uso, where people are going to be interested in that match, right? Interested to see if Yeet, who I think is on track to win. I think he will take the belt from Gunther at WrestleMania. I don't see how you have him win the Royal Rumble and have this massive over. I mean, Gunther, he's not obviously great technician in the ring. He's kind of got that heel shtick down. But they really haven't leaned into him much. It seems like, all these other narratives are actually running hotter than his championship narrative. And I think Jey Uso and Yeet, bring that narrative back to the forefront. You really get Gunther in, because up until now, Gunther has not. It's almost like he's a champion doing jobber matches on the, during the week.
Yeah, Damian Priest was booked similar. They just really haven't had a strong champion in Raw, and maybe Jey Uso brings a strong champion. I think it's weird, he gets clean pin on Saturday Night Main Event, and then you're putting a rematch where it's like, all right, I just saw this. He got clean pinned, and now you're expecting me that he can win?
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. I think here's the problem I have with the booking and Jey Uso winning. I was talking to my kid about this. Why fans are upset. And there was a thing where like the WWE YouTube page with Jey Uso winning had like 5,000 likes and like 12,000 thumbs down. And Jey Uso was on Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee told him straight up, dude, there's a lot of people hating on this. Like, there's a lot of people who don't like this. The WWE, he might get the pop, but they were going, what the hell? Let me throw this at you. Here's what I think the problem is. Outside of Roman Reigns, you had all the stars. Cena, Punk, Rollins, all the big names entered 20 and beyond. And they had that big moment where it was Cena, Punk, Rollins, Reigns, all those 4 or 5 guys in the ring at the same time. Like, here are 6 Hall of Famers squaring off. What a great moment. When have we had 6 Hall of Famers in the Royal Rumble all squaring off? What about one of these guys is going to main event WrestleMania? And then they pulled the swerve in at Jey Uso. I think the problem people are upset is when you have a moment where there's 6 Hall of Famers squaring off, you expect one of those guys to win. And when you don't get the payoff of one of those big time guys winning, you get pissed off because it's like, oh, you teased us. You had 6 guys. One of these guys were going to win. They're squaring off. You didn't give us our moment. You made a guy who wasn't one of those Hall of Famers winning. And that was the problem. They should have had, BJ, that moment earlier in the match. Have Roman Reigns enter 14. Have Seth Rollins enter 17. Have Cena enter 20. They're all in the 20s, right? Have that moment at a different part of the Royal Rumble, and then people would be less pissed off about Jey. You gave it that moment to us at the end.
Yeah.
So then people wanted one of those guys to win. It was just wrong placement in the match to do that, and it pissed people off.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And the momentum was, but once Rollins knocked Reigns and Punk out, you kind of knew all bets were off at that point.
Punk knocked them 2 out.
I mean, Punk with Punk knocking them out. Yeah. I mean, that you kind of knew all bets were off at that point.
Did
and then the way Rollins exited, it's setting up his heel ascendancy now within WWE.
I think everybody's happy though it wasn't Logan Paul.
And I think a lot of fans thought maybe with him being the last entrant, it might be him.
Yeah, I was hoping it wasn't.
Yeah, no, he did. He did. Once again, he did a good job for a guy who's been off, coming right back in, and he played the role that he needed to well.
Did you think? Now, I think Charlotte Flair was the right way to go. Right. And you were right. The return of Alexa Bliss. Right. You were spot on. You nailed it, dude, last week. Go watch our Royal Rumble preview show on this YouTube channel. BJ, you nailed it.
Hometown girl, Ohio.
I think it was bizarre. Charlotte Flair shows up on Raw and she's wearing a weird outfit. Her face definitely has either too much Botox or plastic surgery. She's wearing a weird outfit. And it was just a weird promo of like, you guys are booing me, but I missed you. And then Rhea Ripley came out. It was just a bizarre return of Charlotte Flair?
Well, look, I think Triple H and the crew back there are going to take a look and see, how her return goes, right, before they give her gold. I mean, they've got to make sure that she can, get over like she used to. I mean, it looked like she still had it in the ring in the Royal Rumble. I mean, I didn't see anything that was a red flag of her abilities in the ring. So now the question is going to be, is she going to have enough star power still and mic power to be able to, overrun what we know is a very talented women's division right now with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan and those personalities. So how does Charlotte Flair, rope into that Nia Jax and every, where's her angle going to be?
Yeah, I've always thought Charlotte Flair, just an outsider view, I don't have, I like or dislike just looking at the product. I think she's the most dominating female wrestler of all time, the most athletic one, good on the mic, great wrestler, great heel, great at the arrogance. I'm the queen.
Just like her father. No, I mean, it's all. Yeah, exactly. Just
I think when they try to make her a face, I think you're not doing anyone a favor there. It's like when they tried to make Becky Lynch a bad guy and Stone Cold a bad guy.
Yeah.
Certain people, Stone Cold's a good guy. Becky Lynch is a good guy. Charlotte Flair's is a bad guy. I know you want the pop of the new person out and she's your biggest star. She could be your biggest star. She could be semi-neutral, but she's not a straight up face. So stop trying to turn a Damian Priest face. I want to make everybody. I think, Sam, they have an issue right now at WWE where they want everybody to be a face. If you're a big name, we want you to be face. You got to be a face.
I don't know why, because usually the heels are the stir that stirs the drink. I mean, without good heels, you can't have good faces.
Yeah,
they feed off each other. So what makes wrestling great is when you have those ingredients. But when you only have one or the other, the drink isn't poured properly.
Yeah, it was just it was just like and by the way, Netflix, get your ass together with your glitching. Come on.
We can't have the glitching on the live production. I mean, it defeats the purpose of having the live. They have enough money to fix the problem. I don't understand why. I mean, people. The only thing people are going to remember that Tyson Paul fight is the glitching.
Absolutely right, and it sucked. But yeah.
Well, yeah. Besides that, but also it's the I mean, actually, a lot of people probably even finished watching it. The glitching was so bad they just turned it off.
You're 100% right.
I mean, even myself as an avid boxing fan, desperately wanted to watch the fight. It was I almost turned it off because the glitching was so bad.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Alexa Bliss's return. BJ talked about the new heel in WWE. And Kevin Owens makes an appearance at the end of Raw, which I thought that was a little different, but I think we're going to see something. We're back in 60 seconds on the OVE podcast.
We go to war for you.
At Schuerger Trial Attorneys, we don't back down. Accident? Call us today at 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com for a free consultation. Know your rights because results matter.
That's 877-WAR-FOR-YOU. 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com.
War for you. warforyou.com.
Denrob Management has over 40 years experience in all aspects of payroll, processing checks, tax filing, W-2 and 1099 preparation. First-time customers get 50% off their first 3 months processing fees. Give them a call now, 614-297-1158 or denrobmanagement.com. Thursday, that means wrestling on the OVE podcast. I'm the Torque. He's BJ Schuerger, warforyou.com. Yeah, Alexa, you called it. Hometown girl Alexa Bliss comes back Royal Rumble. Huge pop. Reports that she signed a 5-year deal. When we see her, she's going to be on SmackDown. Are we going to see the same program with the Wyatt Six and the Nikki Cross stuff? Because I think that's what we're going to see.
I think so too. I mean, they've been kind of priming it for the Wyatt Six on SmackDown, and I think from what I understand, they've just been waiting for Alexa Bliss to come back in order to get it going again.
Maybe they have her go against them.
You know what? Look, I mean, that would be great. I mean, I think we need a little new dramatic narrative with the Wyatt Six instead of them just terrorizing people. How about somebody cracks back on them?
Yeah.
Everything I've seen so far is they're the ones that are able to shut the lights off and go after everybody. But how many times are you going to do that? It doesn't matter if it's Chad Gable or Drew Mack, whoever you're going to go after. I think you need to change it up and have somebody like an Alexa Bliss. You're right on, Tord. Having somebody like Alexa Bliss be able to fight fire with fire, and let's start going after the Wyatt Six. Let's get some heat going with them.
Yeah, let's do something with them because they've been non-existent. So if you're going to build these characters up, do something with them.
Yeah,
I don't care what you do something with them. We saw, like, you're right, Chad Gable, The Miz, and then they just kind of went away, and we haven't seen them in like 2 months.
And my understanding it's because of injury, but I think with Alexa Bliss coming back now, they've got a chance to kind of restart that narrative. Hopefully, they do it in a way that it's not from the same playbook.
Speaking of the women, really quick, I was surprised though. Jordan Grace crushed it. I was surprised. It looks like Roxanne Perez. She was the final 2 with Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
Looks like she's going to get called up. I am really surprised because I'm watching NXT right now. I'm finish it, and I'm watching Fallon Henry against Shotzi and all these wins. I'm surprised you're doing a transfer window, a perfect time to call people out, and the only person you're going to call up is Roxanne Perez. No, I understand. You have Nikki Bella's going to be up, Alexa Bliss. You did get Charlotte Flair's back, so you do.
Yeah. So look, you're filling some spots right there, right? So if they bring up any more, they're going to have a role for all of them.
True.
And that they probably don't have that right now.
Yeah, and they've done a bad problem of bringing NXT stars up and then not giving them the proper push.
Yeah, no. Carmelo Hayes, even. You're absolutely right. The only person who's able to break through it, but still it's still a stunted narrative, is Braun Breaker. It started out so hot, so fast. I was looking forward to. I was hopeful that they would make he'd be a great kind of guy they create to make undefeated for a certain period of time to then rise up and go against a baby face, but they slammed the brakes on that where the guy lost his second match. And it's like, well, how can you say this guy's indestructible when he's losing every other match? It doesn't fit the narrative. I don't care how fast, how good he is. Part of it's the story and being indestructible. But if you're indestructible, you have to be winning all the time. The guy is losing too much.
Yeah, agree 100%. Let's get to this one final thing as we wrap it up, and hopefully we can do an extended show at some point in the next.
Yeah, no, that would be great.
If not, we'll do one next week. Seth Rollins cuts a promo. Here's the thing. They're calling it a heel promo. Here's the thing, though. Seth Rollins comes out and he tells you, you're not going to like what I say. And then he brings out Sami Zayn and says, hey, CM Punk tossed trash about you. We're friends. I want you to rise above it and beat that pile of crap up. CM Punk's a pile of crap. Kick his ass. He doesn't care about anybody. So where there's some hints of a heel turn in that promo, 100%. Did he manipulate Sami Zayn for Sami Zayn to take out his
I think rival? He did.
100%.
The Joker, yep.
But then you go into the match, CM Punk and Sami Zayn, and CM Punk is telling Sami Zayn to his face, you're not on my level. Isn't that heel attitude from CM Punk where CM Punk is like, I'm the best in the world, telling the good guy, you shouldn't even be in the damn ring with me.
Well,
that shows, yes, did Seth Rollins show a heel tendency? Yes. But everything he said about CM Punk is correct. And then CM Punk gets in the ring and he's pointing to the WrestleMania sign telling Sami Zayn, you're a pile of crap. You can't wrestle with me.
Well, but for me, that CM Punk is the ultimate anti-hero. He's a face with an edge of a heel. And that's, for him to say that to Sami Zayn is very in character for CM Punk, even as a face. CM Punk can get away with it because that's his persona. That's how good he is on the mic. That's how he's created his entire personality. The fourth rail type of situation where he isn't exact. He's got that anti-establishment feel. So you feel he's a face, but at the same time he's got the irreverent arrogance of saying you shouldn't even be in the ring with me, almost like piling on Sami Zayn. Who seems to be a whipping boy over the past few months of WWE, getting kicked around, even though I think he's over with the crowd, and he had a good run there with the belt. But now the role for him is kind of like that towel boy.
Yeah, but yeah, the weird thing is though, Seth Rollins supposed to be a heel promo, but then everything he says in the promo ends up being correct because he's trying to motivate Sami Zayn and you do my dirty work. I'm gonna pump you up. But the things he was saying to Sami Zayn though was kind of correct. So it's like he's doing it's almost like WWE and they're teasing this is all right. Roman Reigns got some heel tendencies. Seth Rollins has some heel tendencies. CM Punk has some. Maybe they're doing this to keep it. All right, we don't have to make a decision yet. To me, the logical thing would be Seth Rollins turning heel. I would love it if CM Punk was a heel.
Yeah.
You can't make Roman Reigns a heel because he's not around long enough to have benefit of it. And
he can't build the
storyline with Jey Uso. I mean, you could do it. Jey Uso could be champion. Roman Reigns could turn on him down the road. You could do that. Like where Roman Reigns says, I didn't change anything. Acknowledge me. I want the belt. Jey Uso's got the belt. I don't care if he's blood or not. You could do that down the road. But I'm just wondering from the heel. I would love for CM Punk to go heel. Maybe he's moving a lot of merch. Seth Rollins wasn't even a top 10 merch guy this year. He was out a little bit. Maybe that's the reason. But
yeah, he definitely wasn't a focal point on some of the PLEs. He was there, but not like not a headliner.
But focal point of WrestleMania last year.
Yeah, but think about it. Even with that, it's almost like we're getting comfortable and just used to him being there.
Yeah.
You know, we're not. Nothing new is coming up on this. Now, I do like the Punk. I mean, obviously with Punk, Rollins, Reigns, but we've got to get. You know, the bloodline thing is over, at least for now. Fatu looked good in the ring, and hopefully now, like we talked about last week, this is the imminent of him kind of taking over his faction of the bloodline.
Yeah, Braun Breaker eliminated him, so you're going to see more Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, no, I hope. I mean, look, like I said, I had high hopes for Braun Breaker. I thought we were going to see somebody coming in 100-0, breaking bones, moving all the way up to the top. But for some reason, they slammed the brakes on that. And now, Breaker, Fatu, I mean, now Breaker's going to somehow they're going to try to get him involved in the bloodline narrative, which, would be a unique angle. But
is now they're setting up Elimination Chamber. This is who the 6 are going to be. Cena, Punk, Rollins, Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul. Is that who we're thinking of the 6 here? Maybe
I think so.
Maybe someone else, not Drew McIntyre. Out of those 6 guys, we know it's not going to be Punk, Rollins, Reigns because they got a 3-way destination for WrestleMania. It's got to be John Cena, right? John Cena and Cody Rhodes for the championship. I mean, that doesn't scream out. I mean, Jey Uso against Gunther and then John Cena against Cody Rhodes might be the 2 weakest main events I've ever seen in my wrestling.
Well, Cena's trying to go for that 17th belt. So, I mean, if anything, I thought he would take it from Gunther. I mean, is he going to take it from Rhodes?
How do you think he looks? Listen, he's got a great physique. He just looks old to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, this is a guy who's in Hollywood now, right? I mean, he's not used to the, he's aging, right? He's still in good shape, but it's almost, and part of it's the receding hairline, I think, that is getting, it's making him look older than he really is.
He hasn't won a match in 7 years, a solo match. And you're going to put that, I get it. He's the biggest star they've ever had. John Cena's an icon. But
look,
you're going to put him in the main event of WrestleMania at like 53 years old or whatever the hell he is?
I think even with, diminished skills in the ring, his ability on the mic and his star power with the fans is going to garner the kind of pop, even if it's a match that isn't going to be, Logan Paul-esque jumping all over the ring.
But how do they build that, BJ, of a John Cena, Cody Rhodes? Because I would look at that and go, hey, I love John Cena, much respect for you. But Cody Rhodes slayed the dragon of Roman Reigns.
I know. And the problem I have.
Yeah, you want me to believe that John Cena's going to beat him?
I could see Cena beating Gunther. And that's why, it would have made sense for Cena to win Royal Rumble and take that belt because he needs that 17th belt unless they plan on not giving it to him.
Or giving it to him later.
Yeah. I mean, he's got what? He said he's got a year left. So, WrestleMania is not going to be the end of his road.
No.
It'll be something. So you're right. It's not like he doesn't have to win the belt here at WrestleMania. So they might not schedule that. I could see a Logan Paul Rhodes match maybe.
Oh boy, but they've done that.
Or you're gonna see a CM Punk Rhodes match, right?
Yeah,
I think unless they do the 3-way WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's building. Roman Reigns is, Roman Reigns and Rollins are on. And it looks like CM Punk and Rollins is on.
So now who out of that group do you have go against Rhodes?
Yeah, it's got to be John Cena. But yet I'm not buying John Cena.
I'm not buying it because, I mean, unless Cena wins, it's really deflationary to have Rhodes just pin Cena. I mean, that's kind of, I mean,
Isn't it weird the event everybody wants to see, Punk, Rollins, and Reigns, would be a secondary to your 2 main events?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. You got the 3 of the biggest stars there in the ring.
Like, that's the match everybody wants to see, but yet it's going to go on either the first match or second. Because if you do, like, match order is so important, right? You do your matches, and before the main event, you do Reigns, Punk, Rollins, and then you follow up with a 54-year-old or whatever the hell John Cena is against Cody Rhodes. You're going to follow up with that? That to me is oh boy, what a deflate.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean,
right?
Rhodes, yeah, because I just don't see Cena beating Rhodes, because then Cena's going to have the belt for the rest of the year.
I don't know if it does anyone care about. I care about John Cena. I think people care about it, but do I care?
Well, because you know that with Cena, it ends at the end of the year. So no matter what the narratives are, the roads end.
So you're just doing like, this is my last chance from Cena. I'm going to lay it out. This is my.
I think so. And I think maybe he loses in a close match to Rhodes, where he's still pursuing that 17th belt in his tour, which he could still get from somebody else.
It'll be interesting to see how he looks in the Elimination Chamber from the standpoint of, when you're in the Royal Rumble, you can get protected. You're only doing spots.
Yeah.
He was in the final 2, but there's ways behind the Royal Rumble where, I mean, they have celebrities in the Royal Rumble, they've had in the past. So you can, you can protect yourself in a Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
But when you're then 6 guys in the Elimination Chamber, the brutality of that match, you'll get exposed pretty quick if you don't have it.
Yeah, agreed.
But what else you going to do?
Yeah. Triple H, we just have to, we know it's in his hands. I mean, and we know that he knows he's going to give the fans what they want. So it's going to be interesting to see how he ties this in a bow before we get to WrestleMania.
Yeah. Spot on, man. Spot on. Good stuff. If you're new to this channel, remember, subscribe, like, follow, share. We had a Royal Rumble preview show. BJ nailed the women's side. We were all wrong on the male side.
Yeah, we're. I don't know anybody. I would have loved to have seen the Vegas futures on that Uso winning the Royal Rumble. What that was.
Yeah, no one got that right. But if you enjoy wrestling, this is the channel for you, the OVE podcast. So appreciate it, BJ. If anything, we're going to do it next week. I did want to bring up one real quick of AEW, right? We know MJF has a limited amount of time with AEW. He's going to eventually go to WWE, right?
Yeah.
Why are they wasting time? They just had MJF in a program with Jeff Jarrett, and then you bring out Dustin Rhodes. Is this a rehash Randy Orton legend killer type thing? Because to me, if you have limited time with your top superstar, don't waste him in feuds with Jeff Jarrett and Dustin Rhodes. You're just wasting time.
Yeah, no, I agree. And well, part of it is, I wonder if, how soon that timeline is. I wonder if Khan's just got him going through short snippet narratives and nothing that's going to entangle him for a longer story. One of the things that we know with AEW is that there's no long-term planning on the narrative. So it's going to be day to day in terms of where they throw him into. And if he's not in the long-term plans of AEW, it's going to be very herky-jerky all the way through until he comes over to WWE.
You know what's funny is, I think one thing they're doing well, because we'll rip them, is the Max. They broke up the Acclaim, and Max Caster is calling himself the best wrestler alive.
Yeah.
And yet he's losing. He's a coward. I love it. Instead of making him the best wrestler alive, they're actually making him like the worst wrestler alive.
Yeah. No, that's good writing.
Yeah, it is.
That's a portion of good writing right there.
Yeah, which I actually, hey, I'll give props. That's actually, you're doing something right.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah. In an organization where there's not a lot of right.
Yep,
They
agreed.
have the ability to do right, but they miss it so many times.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. If anything, next week. Just remember, subscribe to the channel, like, follow, share. If you like wrestling, we're your spot. BJ, warforyou.com. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You got it, Torque. Thanks, man.
Well, of course. I mean, there's nothing better than being American. So, I mean, this is the greatest feeling. If you don't love it, leave it. USA, #1.